To the Kankakee County full board meeting for January 10th, 2023. Today's invocation is from Roger Hess.
Heavenly Father, I ask that you look upon this group gathered here today and fill us, each of us, with your spirit and grace. Grant each of us the knowledge, wisdom, and strength to make decisions that will best serve all residents of our county. Father, we also ask that you continue watching over the families, friends, and colleagues of Sergeant Ritmanick and Bailey. We also pray that for the safety and the wisdom for those tasked with ensuring justice is served. Father, we also ask that you continue to watch over and protect all those serving our country in the armed forces, along with the emergency personnel, first responders, and healthcare workers nationwide. We ask this in your name. Amen.
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 Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, get a roll call, please.
Mr. Hess. Mr. Tholen.
Present.
Mrs. Polk.
Present.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy. Mrs. Weber. Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield. Mr. Carrico. Mr. Eckhoff. Mr. Swanson. Mr. Featherling. Mr. Dunhill. Mr. Miller. Mr. Long. Mr. Kirkstra. Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith. Mr. Alexander Hildebrand. Ms. Foster. Ms. Andrade. Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday. Ms. Ritmanick Emmy. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Present. We have a quorum. Under public comment today, we have Kathy V. from Pembroke Township, please. Have a total of 15 minutes for all public comment. Thank you.
Good morning, all. Good morning, all, and thank you for the allowing us to be here to speak. I do have some of our other board members here. Our issue, not issue, just a concern we're asking, and we'd like to thank the county board for approving the funding for our lift station repair. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But our concern is, one, the lift station invoices that we're getting are of concern. They're not being explained fully, and we wanted to make sure that what we're paying out is actually what's being done. And we have not gotten that. So a couple of invoices we have not approved to be paid. And we've been told that if we don't approve them, that you guys will take the money back. My concern is I know you don't want us to pay for something that's not being done. And then at the end of the day, once all the money has been used, the job is not completed because the work was not done completely. The other issue we have is with the engineer. Per our intergovernmental agreement, our board was supposed to choose the engineer. Our board was not privy to the choosing of the engineer. He was never brought to us to vote on, but the engineer has been working and he has not been giving us the information that we've requested. When we've asked who hired the engineer, we were told that the county board hired our engineer. And I know that not to be true per our intergovernmental agreement, but yet our supervisor is not giving us any information of who hired this engineer. So if the county board, and I know you guys can't respond, but at some time get back to us for clarity to let us know if our board didn't approve the engineer, can we look for an engineer that our board will approve to do the work correctly and give us the invoices and the reports that we've been asking for from day one. And if we still have issues with the bills that they're giving us that are vague. They're not explaining or detailing the work they're doing. They're just saying fixing and repairing, and we'll get a bill for $5,000, or we'll get a bill for another $2,000, and it all says the same, fix and repair. And we have not seen anybody down at the lift station recently, but yet we're still getting these invoices. So we just need clarity and know what we're to do, and that we're not going to forfeit the funding because we're trying to be compliant in what you guys want as far as approving and paying out these invoices. Thank you.
Next up is Deborah Barron from Kankakee.
Thank you, Chairman Wheeler and members of the County Board, for the opportunity to come before you this morning. As Chairman mentioned, I'm Deborah Barron, and I live in the city of Kankakee. I'm here on behalf of Kankakee County's children and families. I'm here especially on behalf of the youth who told me it was easier to get illegal drugs in this county than to get mental health services. For many of these youth, their ticket to treatment has been through the juvenile justice system. I think that's a despicable truth. And it will take, to make local impact, it will take local funding. That is the reality. I have emailed you materials, and we have made copies of them and passed them out to each of you this morning. We're here to request that you give the voters of Kankakee County the opportunity to address the mental health concerns which they have personally encountered, either themselves or through their family members or close friends. We are asking you to use your authority to place a referendum on the April 4th, 2023 consolidated election ballot to allow the residents of this county to vote on adopting a 1/4-cent sales tax for mental health purposes. Now, a citizen-driven initiative to place a referendum on the ballot is often done through a petition drive. However, because of our inexperience with this process, we were unaware that we should have started gathering signatures much earlier in order to meet the January 3rd deadline. Unfortunately, it was mid-December when we approached Chairman Wheeler. Recognizing the urgency to address the ever-increasing demand for mental health services, he agreed to bring our request to the County Board's Executive Committee. He challenged us to conduct an advisory petition drive to gather as many signatures as possible to demonstrate community support for the referendum. Since December 17th, in less than 4 weeks, which have included Christmas and New Year's holidays, we have gathered 620 signatures via an online petition, and that was last night, and there were 50 more this morning that we didn't get to print off and include, and 528 signatures on paper petitions for a total of 1,148 signatures. That number exceeds 8% of the number of voters that participated in the 2021 consolidated election. And that 8% is frequently the threshold for getting a citizen-driven petition on the ballot. We hope that you will agree that our efforts demonstrate significant public support for making this decision in the voting booth. I have a copy of the signatures we have collected to present to Chairman Wheeler today, and I will be here to answer any questions you may have when you consider this request. Thank you.
Next up is Rhonda Showers from Bourbonnais.
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Showers from Bourbonnais, and I want to thank you all for hearing us today. As a resident of Kankakee County, I founded the Mental Health Network to build relationships and grow mental health resources here at home. The network includes residents from the faith community, business, education, mental health, social service, government, legal, first responders, and media, all who have had their own personal or professional experiences regarding the shortages of mental health services here in Kankakee County. I too have transported loved ones and referred others outside of our area for care. This need to expand local services resonates with families from every walk of life. But if we are to make a local impact, it will take local funding. That is the reality. But we are not here today to ask you to levy a mental health tax. All we ask of you is to give the voters the chance to make the decision to support local funding to expand and sustain mental health resources here at home. We, the residents here today, and our networks of multiple citizen-driven organizations will spearhead a campaign to educate voters on this issue. We'll tell them about the establishment of a county mental health board to fund local programs, even when the state and national funds are cut. We'll tell them the ability that we will have to create programs, such as mental health first responders to be dispatched with police. We'll inform them how a 1/4 cent sales tax would mean paying 1 cent more on a $4 burger or beverage, or 25 cents on $100 worth of retail, and that groceries, prescription drugs, and motorized vehicles are just some of the items that would still be exempt. We'll tell them how a penny on a latte will generate an average of $3 million for mental health services here every year. Every year. We'll tell them how a sales tax shares the cost with everyone, including those who moved away but continue to work here and visit here. We're already finding that those we talk to are in support of this. It's no surprise because the need for more mental health services has been demonstrated in multiple needs assessments. This is evidence that the people recognize the need and they will support this effort. Thank you.
Nicole Smokovich from Herscher is next.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. As he said, my name is Nicole Smokovich. I'm the Executive Director of the Community Foundation of Kankakee River Valley. I'm a resident of Herscher, and mental health is a top priority for me, not only professionally, but also personally. We know that this is a top priority for our citizens because it was identified in 2 county needs assessments over the past several months. As a member of the Partnership for Healthy Communities Steering Committee, we know that mental health has been a priority issue for the last 6 years. We have a copy of the most recent needs assessment completed by the partnership in your packet. If we are to make a local impact, it's going to take local funding, and that's the reality. We know that funding from Washington and Springfield is not always a guarantee for our organizations that offer mental health supports. That is why the Community Foundation wants to help educate the community on why having our own mental health board is so important. This small investment of a 1/4 cent would provide a stable and long-term resource of funding rather than depending on time-limited grants. I am asking the Kankakee County Board to allow the citizens the opportunity to decide on April 4th to bring local control to Kankakee County to fund local programs by passing a 1/4 cent sales tax for mental health. Thank you.
Next up is Al Swinford from Manteno. Chief.
Good morning, Al Swinford, Police Chief for the Village of Manteno, and somebody who's been very frustrated over my career with the limited amount of resources that law enforcement has when dealing with mental health calls. I don't know if you know, but the largest providers of mental health services in this country are not hospitals. It's not Cedars-Sinai or Mayo Clinic. It is Rikers Island, LA County Jail, and Cook County Jail. Correctional facilities are the largest provider of mental health facilities in this country. That really should be all we need to hear about mental health and police and the criminal justice system as a whole. Far too many people are still getting arrested and jailed for situations that are primarily a result of their mental health situation. When the police are called to the scene of a mental health incident, they typically have 3 options. They can leave that person there, which is almost never the right option. The second floor Riverside, which is almost always a very temporary solution, or we can take them to jail. And that is a very common result, and then they become the problem of the sheriff. We need more options. We need to get mental health experts working side by side with law enforcement to assist in these type of calls, or where appropriate, to replace law enforcement during these calls. I think this referendum does that. And I know this board has always been very supportive of law enforcement, and I think this referendum supports law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Theotis Pace from Kankakee.
Good morning. Theotis Pace, Kankakee County President of the NACP. The Kankakee County branch of the NACP recognized the needs for local funding that will prioritize emerging local solution to mental health needs in Kankakee County. The Kankakee County branch of the NACP support the initiative to place a quarter-cent sales tax for mental health on the Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 ballot. We will join with the efforts to help educate residents on the need for local long-term funding for local mental health resources. Again, we want to just thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here this evening and for your support for the quarter-cent initiative. Thank you.
Next up, Eric Peterson from Manteno.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for letting me be here today. My name is Eric Peterson. I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Project Headspace and Timing. We're a nonprofit organization that connects veterans to resources, specifically mental health. In doing so, we have worked with local police departments and hospitals to connect with veterans in as early into any crisis as possible. The last veteran that was referred to us by a local police department was earlier this week. Before that, it was between Christmas and New Year's, and before that, it was a veteran that tried to take his life right before Veterans Day. I've been called to multiple police departments and hospitals in the area, and as an organization is concerned, our last board meeting was on January 3rd, where we had to discuss what it's going to take to have more veteran volunteer advocates to respond to all of these calls. I'm hired on by our organization on a part-time basis, despite working full-time hours, because I can't let us burn through all the funds that we've worked so hard to raise, but we still have an obligation to all of these veterans right here in our own community. And without fail, once we help out one veteran, he refers us to another, and then to another. And when we started seeing how many veterans that we were working with, I started reaching out to other mental health organizations in our area because they provide a lot of support to me. And I saw one thing. It seemed like a lot of us were drowning. It seemed like a lot of mental health organizations are doing their best with what they have, and still the needs outweigh what they are able to provide. So I'm here today to voice my support in allowing the citizens to vote on the quarter-cent sales tax increase for mental health initiatives. I definitely think that for all of the support we've given so many different demographics in this community, regardless of who we're talking about, mental health affects every single one of us. And to see all of these organizations being able to come together to voice their support for this, I think just shows how significant it is. Thank you all very much.
With the board's permission, we are a minute over, but we have just one more person, so I'll just let this person go. Is that okay? All right, head nod. I don't know, it's John Beavis, so no, I'm just kidding. From Bourbonnais, I believe.
Bourbonnais, the health department. Good morning. I'll be brief. I echo everything that has been just said on the mental health and the tax referendum. Nicole had mentioned the community health improvement plan that you were given a copy of, the most recent one, that the MAP, the mobilizing for action, for planning and partnership, that, has been doing over the past 9 years, many years, longer than that even, and mental health has been one of the top priorities in the last 6 years. One of the glaring statistics that I just wanted to mention that's in there in that brochure is that there is one mental health counselor for every 660 people in Kankakee County. So just to give you an example, if all of us tonight decided we needed to go to the grocery store and get some groceries before we went home, we all walk in and there's one checkout open and there's 660 people in line with full carts in front of us. How long are you going to wait to get that food that you need to take home before you give up? That's what we want to make sure doesn't happen in our county and continues to happen. There is a lack of resources, people, and money in our community, and this will greatly help improve that. The people have spoken that they want it and need it. Let's allow them to vote and show that need is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you all. So moving on, have no vacancy appointments. I have a presentation today. It's our yearly update from the Kankakee County Economic Alliance with their annual report, and I have Tim Nugent here to do that. You get the clicker.
Good morning, and thanks for the opportunity to be here today. As Andy said, every January we come and kind of give a little update as to what the Economic Alliance has been doing the past year and some of the accomplishments and things that have taken place in Kankakee County and the economic development world. This year, it's important to kind of go through our mission too. I know there's a lot of new county board members that might not really be familiar with the Economic Alliance, but the Economic Alliance is a partnership. It's a public-private partnership of all the different communities working together to try to promote Kankakee County to business and to attract business, to keep business, to retain business. Economic Alliance consists of, let's see if this not working. The next slide. The Economic Alliance is governed by a 16-member board. Right now, we're short a few members. I think there's some members that are going to get appointed from the county board today. We have 4 members from the county board that represent us, and we have a number of different people from the community that that we report to. We have 5 meetings a year, and we report to this board. As you can see, there's members from all the different areas throughout the county, different businesses, several banks, hospitals, different labor unions, community activist groups, and we try to get people from throughout the county. So we report to them 5 times a year, and these meetings are public and open to anybody who wants to come. We move them around to different locations throughout the county over the course of the year. Some of the accolades that Kankakee County received over the course of the last year, we were the #1 for small communities for carpenters to work. That's based on living, the cost of living and job availability and wages. We were #2 for law enforcement, #6 for nurses. These are things that there are different magazines, different companies do surveys about the area and try to find what areas are leading in certain fields and certain areas. As you can see here, we're very highly ranked for a small metropolitan area for a number of different job descriptions. This one I think is really important though. Kankakee County was ranked #5 for the 2nd year in a row for being a small manufacturing hub. The old myth that we don't create anything and we don't make anything anymore is just not true. Kankakee County is a manufacturing community. And this is the 2nd year in a row that we have been #5 as far as manufacturing output for small MSAs or metropolitan statistical areas for the whole United States. We make a lot of products. We make a lot of things here in Kankakee County just because the people and the companies that we all remember that might have moved out in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're gone, but new people have come and replaced them, and those jobs have been replaced with jobs today that are making products that are wanted today and sold products of the 2020s as opposed to the products of the 1980s. Right now, our economic impact of manufacturing, like I said, we're #5 in manufacturing hubs. We have a total economic output of manufacturing products of over $5 billion. And we have 8,465 manufacturing jobs here in Kankakee County. That's almost 20% of our workforce is involved in manufacturing. So we are making a lot of products. We have a lot of people working in manufacturing, and that contributes over almost $1 billion, $933 million a year in salary and benefits in manufacturing alone. So we are a manufacturing community, whether people want to believe it or not. Here's just a small list of some of the companies that are doing manufacturing in Kankakee County. These companies produce products that are made and shipped all over the nation, all over the world. We export over $1.6 billion of products throughout the world every year coming out of Kankakee County. And these are the companies that do it. We also are becoming a manufacturer of power. Over the course of the last several years, over 48 solar and wind projects have been permitted, and some of them built in Kankakee County. And these projects, when fully completed, are going to have the potential to generate energy for over 250,000 homes. So Kankakee County is not only a manufacturer of products, but we are becoming a manufacturer of energy. And we all know energy and electricity is going to be in more and higher demand with all the things that are being made and all the electric vehicles that are going to be coming on board. Energy is going to be a real product of the future, and it's great to be an energy hub. Right now, there's about 45,000 homes in Kankakee County. So we are going to be creating power for more than 5 times the homes in Kankakee County. Obviously, that power is going to be shipped all over the Midwest, but becoming a manufacturer of clean energy is really helping to put Kankakee County on the map. We have solar power, we have wind power, we have hydroelectric power, and we have other companies that are looking to come to Kankakee County to manufacture other types of renewable energy. So renewable energy is on the move, and the county board is very familiar with it. You guys have sat through hours and hours of hearings on different solar farms, but it's really starting to make an impact on some of the products that we are making. And without that energy, those other products can't be made. We're also in Pembroke, you're well aware of the natural gas pipeline that's taking place. This project has been in the books or talked about for years and years. Finally, over the last couple of years, with the help of Senator Joyce, the state legislature, Representative Haas, this pipeline is now going in the ground. There's a couple miles of pipe that have started to be laid. It started on Route 1 and it's going east towards Pembroke Township, and this project is underway, long in the planning and negotiating stage, and without the help of the county board and Chairman Wheeler, this would have never happened, but now this is coming to fruition. This year, natural gas will be in Pembroke. Also in Kankakee, if anyone drives over on the east side, you'll see the Ricky Rockets project is finally going. Chute Manufacturing, with the help of the county board, is in the process of building a new addition. There's a $10 million addition that's going to be able to hire and more people throughout the county. In Bourbonnais, there's a road ranger travel center that's being constructed up on the new Bourbonnais Parkway. Bourbonnais was also the recipient of over a $3 million grant to help with their Bourbonnais campus plan. In Bradley, they're completing their fire station addition. Also, they received a $3 million grant for improvements that are going to take place on Route 50. And if any of you have been driving by the Armour Road intersection lately, you'll see that the utilities are working there. That whole intersection is going to be revamped and redone, and the village of Bradley is going to be working on Route 50 for beautification projects. And that's very important. When we bring in new people to town and they get off 57, they like seeing new construction. They like seeing new things being put in. They like seeing a lot of the different projects that are happening because they see that the communities are reinvesting in themselves. If we want them to spend money here, they need to see that we're spending money here too. In Manteno also, the Main Street has been totally revamped with sidewalks extended, arches over the roadway. New things are happening in Manteno to be able to bring and attract new families to the community and make us a community where people want to come, to visit, spend money, and to live. As far as other things happening in the county, there was a grant received for $3 million from Congressman Kelly's office to help in the broadband initiative. It's taking place out in the Hopkins Park area. As we all know, broadband is obviously it's a utility now. We need to have it in order to conduct and do business, especially with COVID, the situation that took place, and all the kids were at home doing school at home. It was absolutely something that's necessary, and there's a lot of areas in the county that don't have it, but there's money being spent on improving that right now, especially in the eastern part of the county. Last year, the Economic Alliance was successful in working to get over $2.4 million of the Back to Business grants to come to Kankakee County. Got 64 businesses got awarded money from the B2B business grant. These were monies that were coming from the state of Illinois for businesses that were harmed during the COVID, and we helped, and we were a community navigator to make sure that a lot of these businesses got their applications in, got their applications completed, and you can see there the communities where the businesses were located that got grants that came back to Kankakee County. So about $2.5 million worth of grants coming back to businesses in the county. The community needs assessment was done, approved by the county board and done last year. I put this on here because Economic Alliance was identified along with the Sheriff's Office and the State's Attorney's Office and the NAACP as resources that are underutilized. The respective offices were identified that we have services that we can provide, and that people don't realize the things that we can help them with, and the people that we can connect them with in order to to take care of some of the needs that they have. So the Alliance was very happy to be recognized there as an organization that is important in Kankakee County and that can help the people to be able to to get their businesses going and enhance their businesses. A hotel feasibility was done by the city of Kankakee, and hotels are being considered in Kankakee County. I know whenever you see in the newspaper people, they talk about a new hotel being built, and everybody says, well, why do we need another hotel? Everybody thinks hotels are only filled with tourists. That's not the case in Kankakee County. About 65 to 70% of the people that stay in our hotels are here for business. They're here because they're coming to CSL or to Nucor for training. They're coming to Shoot Manufacturing. They're coming to Van Drunen Farms. They're coming here for training. They're coming here to buy products. They're coming here to do a lot of things. They're staying here because they're building solar farms or they're putting in pipelines. So our hotels are busy and full Monday through Friday with people that are coming here, not just traveling off of 57 and staying here for the night, but for people that are coming here for business purposes. And because we are a business hub, because we are a manufacturing hub, thus the need for more hotels. So if we can have those hotels filled up during the week with business people and then provide other attractions for them on the weekends, the hotels obviously have a high occupancy rate and the need for more hotels. That's why the city of Kankakee is working with developers. The village of Bradley, the village of Bourbonnais are all working with developers for the possibility of bringing more hotels to their respective communities. Kankakee County is a very economical place to live. Our cost of living index is 92.1, which means out of $100 in the average community in the United States, in Kankakee County it costs $92.10. That is, some people would look at that as a negative, but we look at it as a positive. That means you can come here, you can get a great livable wage, you can buy homes at a livable price, you can raise your family at a very livable wage or livable expenses, and you're paying less money than you would in some more expensive areas. For instance, in New York, it's going to be probably over $200 for the $100 average, and here it's 92. So like I say, we advertise this as a positive because we are a very economical place to live. Now, we just recently conducted a housing study. The county board approved the Economic Alliance request for a grant, and we hired a company to come in and do a housing study, and we just recently got the results, because one of the things that we find that's lacking in Kankakee County is new housing. And you see, according to the housing study, almost all of our housing stock was built prior to the year 2000, and a good portion of it was built prior to 1960. Our housing slowdown that took place back in 2008 has never fully recovered. We need more housing in Kankakee County to be able to attract the workers to take these jobs that are being created here in the county. This housing study that we did shows that there is a definite need for housing, not always the same type of house in the same location. Everybody doesn't want to live in a 3-bedroom house with a 2-car garage anymore. They want different types of housing. And this company has identified what type of housing will go in what community, and this is what we're working on to try to bring more developers here into Kankakee County to build in, houses and new homes, the houses that people need and want. One of the things that we're talking about potentially doing in order to attract new developers is the residential enterprise zone. We used enterprise zone benefits back in the 80s to bring manufacturers and bring jobs here, and it worked. Now we're talking about the possibility of using a residential enterprise zone to try to bring larger developers here to build the houses and the housing that people want to live in. One of the problems that we have in Kankakee County right now, as you go around, you'll see, there's jobs available everywhere. We've got 4,500 fewer employees in Kankakee County in our workforce now than we did in 2018. So we have a lot of jobs available. Our unemployment rate is about the same as it was a few years ago, but we have 4,500 fewer people in our workforce. There's a lot of reasons for that. The workforce is getting older. A lot of people are retiring. COVID kind of moved a lot of the retirements up faster than what was planned. And a lot of the companies have created a lot more jobs. So there's a lot of jobs out there, a lot of jobs available, but there's fewer people for these companies to pick from. As you can see, our unemployment rate is fairly consistent. It spiked during COVID, but it usually runs around 4.5% to 5.5%. Right now, it's 5.4%. The cost or the unemployment rate is not consistent anymore with the amount of jobs that are available. It used to be we had high unemployment because there were no jobs. Now our unemployment maintains around 5.5%, but we have lots of jobs available for people to work. We're going to always have, it seems, around 5% of the population that's not going to get a job, and is going to, and our unemployment's always going to maintain around 5%. Any more, 5% is almost like full employment for us. But it's not because there's not jobs out there. There is jobs. It's just 5% of the population, for one reason or another, whether it's training, whether it's whatever reason, that they're not working. The weekly average income in Kankakee County has gone up. We're at about $1,033. You can see it's 27% higher than it was in five years ago. Naturally, that's a good thing, but that's also, it's going along with what inflation is doing too. Coming in 2023, we have a new CEO program that is going to take place. This is a program that's being started to try to get teenagers in high school to be familiar with the jobs and with the companies that are in Kankakee County. This is a program that is going to launch in August of this year. Right now, they've got Kankakee, Bishop McNamara, Moment, St. Anne, and Trinity Academy involved in it. And there's, this is kind of going along with the community needs assessment. We need to get more of the high school age people familiar with the jobs that are here. So if they leave and go away to college, we want them to come back. If they don't leave and go away to college, they know what jobs and what opportunities are here for them. Also, the Alliance has signed an agreement with the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center for a 4-part series on working with manufacturing and try to spread the word about our manufacturing in Kankakee County and how it's such a robust manufacturing community. There's going to be a 2023 Kankakee River Watershed Conference on March 10th at the Kankakee Community College. This is an all-day meeting talking about all the different initiatives that are taking place with the Kankakee River. We need to take better care of and more advantage of our river. It's a main source of all of our all of the things that are that happen here in Kankakee County, from our drinking water to our industries to to recreation. We need to take better care of it, and this is going to inform the public about what's happening on the river now. Also, we are working on our new market profile. That's a marketing piece that the Economic Alliance produces every year. And it'll be coming out later this month with all the different things that took place in 2022. And a lot of the recruiters like to use this in order to send it out to different companies to show them about the advantages of doing business in Kankakee County. Our board of directors meetings dates are set. The locations are not, because we move it around and we don't usually find out until about a month ahead of time where we're going to be at. But these meetings are open to the public and available for anybody to come and hear the report on what's taking place. And that's our contact information. This slide presentation I went through pretty fast. All the county board members will receive this in your email today. If you have any questions about any of the statistics or anything that is on this presentation, please give us a call or send us an email and we'll help explain whatever you might have questions on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Tim? You went through a lot there. If there's any layer below or above something he might have mentioned, if you don't have an answer, we can research it. Mr. Hunter.
Mayor Nugent, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I missed those high schools. Did you mention Kankakee High School as well?
Yes, Kankakee High School.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Just so this board knows, we've got some new members. That Armor Road project wouldn't have happened if we went and got involved. We got it included in the capital bill. A lot of work. Paid a lobbyist. We carried that one over the finish line. There'll be 2 turn lanes in every direction, so it'll go from the worst corner in the county to probably the best. And I'm serious. A new stoplight there where you go into Denny's. That's when they widen that upcoming here. If we can ever get this, get it moving here. It's bid and it was expensive. But just so you know, we took action. We were at an event, Tim and I, and a former leader of that project was publicly crying open about nothing happening with those entrances. And so we stepped up, and by the end of that meeting, I remember the phone calls had started, and it seems like we all came together, but the initial action came out of here.
And making those improvements are so important for, like I said, businesses that are coming into the community. We've got an appointment with a company tomorrow that's coming out to look at some of the properties that they own. And when they see the community investing money and spending money on upgrades, that really goes a long way.
Oh yeah, and it's just a start. We've got a lot of good projects coming up through the MPO, which we're part of. Career Center, we got 7,000 Road coming up, so there's a lot more coming to make the transportation infrastructure and other infrastructure, accessible and equitable to those people who are looking to invest in our county as well. So thanks so much, Tim. Moving on. We have a proclamation today. If we could, Dan, could we get that read into the record real quick?
Sure. Proclamation of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, honoring Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders for winning national recognition during the 2022 United Youth Football League National Competition. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders have been providing recreational and educational opportunities for Kankakee youth for over 60 years. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders competed in the United Youth Football League Regionals on November 11th, 2022 in Addison, Illinois, with all 4 teams earning bids to the Nationals at Tampa Bay Fairgrounds in Tampa, Florida on December 10th, 2022. And whereas the Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders 10U, coached by Ulika Young, won first place. Whereas the Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders 12U, coached by Imprince Collins, won second place. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders 14U, coached by Simone West, won fourth place. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders 8U, coached by Marginelle Thurman, won sixth place. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleader teams are led by cheer director Veronica Irish and assistant director Verlin Jordan. Whereas Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders are an example of how dedication, hard work, and commitment can lead to success and national recognition. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Kankakee County Board greatly appreciates and honors the 2022 Kankakee Eastside Bulldog cheerleaders for their commitment and national recognition, and proclaims that Tuesday, January 10th, 2023 is 2022 Kankakee Eastside Bulldog Cheerleaders Day in the County of Kankakee.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, would you like to present the proclamation to the group and say anything up at the mic here with them?
Make a couple comments before we do that. I rise to extol the positive virtues of the Eastside Junior Football League. That particular program entails 300 youth from all segments of our county. not only we're dealing with football and cheerleading and so forth, there are a lot of cultural attributes which the kids achieve when we take them to all parts of the country. We've taken them to pro football games as well as cultural events throughout the country, which help the kids in our particular county. Additionally, some of our kids have never even been in a hotel or a motel, and I think we like to train our kids to be positive role models in our county. I formerly was involved in the beginning of Eastside Junior Football back in the mid '70s. I guess the roles have been increasing exponentially since that particular time. And as I indicated, we have more than 300 kids, and we have some of our individuals who have been involved in this particular program for in excess of 40 years. We do have some of the coaches and the leadership here, and I'd like for them to come forward, and so we could present this proclamation by the county board. So would you please come up, and we'll make the presentation.
The microphone up over here. Thank you.
Got you. Up there. I'm gonna hobble up there.
Jim, will you handle that behind your computer?
Ms. Jazz Kennedy and our Associate Director of Cheer, Ms. Valon Jordan. Theodis Pace here. I've given 46 years of my life to this organization. And as we can continue to provide quality of life and activities for the youth in this community, there's a number of individuals in this room. I want to just thank you for your continued support as we enter our 65th year this coming July. So again, thank you.
And to piggyback on that, I talk with Fields maybe 4 or 5 times a day, and
that's something.
Different initiatives and things that need to be done. But what was really remarkable in terms of taking the kids to Tampa, he advised me that they expended more than $74,000 for that particular trip. And so those of you who want to help our youth, feel free to make contact with Eastside Junior Football. We'll accept any amount that you're willing to contribute. And again, thank you very much for this proclamation.
With that, can I get a motion to approve the proclamation? I'll go with Mr. Hunter. How about a second, Dr. Polk? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, you better not oppose, or else they're coming for you. Motion carries. Just to make that official. We get a couple of pictures here real quick.
I'm sorry, I just want to mention also that the Eastside Cheer, they're not quite done this year. They have an opportunity to perform a dance at the Chicago Bulls game on March 17th. So we are selling tickets for anyone who would like to go. They're going to do a presentation with the former Lover Bulls in the afternoon, and they'll do a pregame dance with other squads from across Chicago on March 17th.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
you got that wide angle there? Come on.
It's slimming.
I just didn't want the mic in the picture to come around the mic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you again, and congratulations.
Real quick, and Chairman, I just want to make everyone clear of the 2022, the current events that's happening in our community regarding organizations such as Eastside Football. It's about the teen youth violence prevention, and that's what we're going to continue to do to improve the quality of life in our community. Thank you.
And thanks. You guys are complete and total countywide asset, and we appreciate that. Certificates of appreciation. I have Ruth Myrick from the Circuit Clerk's Office, 20 years, and Bernard Ryan from the Sheriff's Department, 10 years. I think Dr. Ryan's here. Thank you so much for your service. Moving on, minutes of the last meeting, December 5th and December 13th, 2022. Is there a motion? Mr. Eckhoff, second. Ms. Parker, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under Claims Committee reports, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the County Board, your Committee on County Claims would beg leave to report. They have examined the following claims presented and recommend payment. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to issue orders to the several claimants. Total claim for November 2022, $8,019,418.68.
Alrighty, is there a motion to approve claims? We'll go with Mr. Fairfield, Mr. Smith with a second. That'll be a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Ms. Andrade.
Aye.
Ms. Armour Earps.
Aye.
Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday.
Aye.
Ms. Rittmanick Emmy.
Aye.
Mr. Scanlon.
Aye.
Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, department reports, if we can get those read on the record, please.
County Collector's Monthly Report for November 2022. Total cash and bank and investments of $3,988,280.20. County Treasurer's Monthly Report for November 2022. In First American Bank, the tax operating account, the ending balance, $3,896,182.69. The tax collection account at First American Bank, the ending balance of $337.85. The tax e-pay account at First American Bank, the ending balance of $43,995.83. And Illinois Funds, U.S. Bank, the ending balance of $47,763.83. Coroner's Monthly Report for November 2022, total calls of 111, coroner's cases 21, 8 autopsies, 8 toxicology, 1 donation, 1 indigent, 1 fetal, 49 hospice, 38 referrals, 60 cremations, 4 x-rays, 2 outside x-rays, 8 pending. Coroner's Income Summary Report for November 2022, total of $4,259. Circuit Clerk Cash Book for November 2022, total dispersed of $224,148.10. Recorder's Monthly Report for November 2022, disbursement fees paid to the County Treasurer of $129,388.78. County Clerk's Monthly Report for November 2022, total of $29,999.81. County Clerk's Monthly Report, 6-month report is on file. Monthly Building Division Report for November 2022, total permits 71, total fees of $30,046. Animal Control Monthly Report for November 2022, total of $39,648. In the IPTIP Building Fund, $198.34. Total animals handled, 75. And the monthly resolution list for January 2023, total of the county of $59,014.08.
Alrighty. Is there a motion to approve as presented there, to combine and approve Mr. Hess? A second, Mr. Miller? That's a voice vote. All those in favor? Sure, go ahead.
We're voting on the Claims Committee reports. That's correct?
No, we already did.
Okay, so, I mean, my hand goes up. Y'all not recognizing it. But I do want to make sure that upon the end report that we have, that I am affirmed that this stuff is going through your auditor for review and back to this committee, to this board when we are approving it. So just want to make that comment.
Is that a comment or a question?
It's a comment now that is going through. It's a question as if it's being done.
I can't speak to the auditor's work ethic. I do know that he doesn't come here during the day at all for the last 2.5 years. So whether he does this at home at night, we'll let the taxpayers figure that out, because I have no idea. But I know that all claims are signed off for by the auditor's office, somebody there, and if they're not, then they go in front of the finance committee for approval.
So it's being sent to his office, is my understanding then.
Has been for years. by state law, they have to. We won't violate the state law. Moving on. Wait a minute. Did we finish the voice vote? We did? Okay, thank you. Under committee presentations, resolutions, consent agenda, is there anything that needs to be removed and discussed separately? Chance to look through them. Second time, anyone that has to be removed, discussed separately. With that, take a motion to combine and approve. Mr. Eckhoff, second. Mr. Ashcraft, if we can get those read in the record, please.
The reappointment of Chad Miller to the Kankakee County Regional Planning Commission. The reappointment of Samuel Payton to the Kankakee County Regional Planning Commission. The reappointment of Jeff Jarvis to the Kankakee Regional Planning Commission. The reappointment of Thomas Citrina to the Kankakee County Regional Planning Commission. The appointment of Amanda Armour Earps to the Executive Board of Economic Alliance of Kankakee County. The appointment of Rosemary Foster to the Executive Board of Economic Alliance of Kankakee County. The reappointment of Chad Miller to the Executive Board of Economic Alliance of Kankakee County. Reappointment of Andrew Wheeler to the Executive Board of Economic Alliance of Kankakee County. The authority for the Director of the Kankakee County Planning Department to sign employment agreement between Kankakee County and Magruder and Associates to perform plumbing inspections. The adoption of an updated bereavement policy of the County of Kankakee Policy and Procedure Manual. Resolution authorizing the County Board Chairman to sign a local agency agreement for federal participation in appropriating matching tax funds for resurfacing County Highway 18. Resolution for maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code. Resolution authorizing the County Board Chairman to sign an engineering agreement with Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick Incorporated and appropriate motor fuel tax funds to design a bridge replacement on County Highway 17 in Sumner Township. Resolution authorizing the County Board Chairman to sign an agreement for the county engineer salary.
Alrighty, I guess we need a roll call, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hutter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Ms. Andrade. Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday. Ms. Rittmanick-Emmy.
Aye.
Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under executive, let's see here. Probably should get this read into the record, I would believe. There you go, sir. It's on your tablets. It's not in the packet. It's separately on your tablets. Just wanted, because it was so voluminous, we didn't want to print it out. The bill itself. Voluminous. You like that?
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, opposing Illinois General Assembly House Bill 5855, Protect Illinois Communities Act, any trailer bill, any bill similar to, or any bill where the 102nd Illinois General Assembly desires to restrict the rights of citizens as protected by the Second Amendment of the United States.
Thank you. You see the actual language there that I came up with, and I borrowed some from some counties that were doing certain things, changed some that were taking actions that were not necessarily in line with the authorities of county boards. They were more statements, not something they could do, i.e. restrict the use of funds within elected departments. That's something we can't do, so I don't want that impression out there, and I think the executive committee agreed with that. But, you know, this is the general bones of the resolution, if you will. It did change over to Senate Bill 2226, another one of those middle of the night shifts, where it appeared over on the Senate side. The Senate has passed that, their own version. The House has passed their own version, and now there's some type of a reconciliation going on, for lack of a better grasp of the situation, because it evolved overnight last night as well, along with another bill that I wanted to talk about in a minute. So basically, you know, the gist of it is they miss the Illinois legislature in their race to the far left as they possibly can go. They basically said and misapplied the term assault rifle to meaning rifles of all kinds. Basically, AR doesn't mean assault rifle. It means something quite different, and I think it has since the 60s, I believe. So we do stand with the families that have lost people to the particular segment of gun violence. 3% of gun crimes are created with rifles. And if if the statistics play out the way that it normally is, half of those are suicide. So we've created a law here and decided to do this and turn citizens into criminals that are abiding by the law, but then we still refuse to enforce the gun laws that are on the books as they stand right now. And actually create a new law where if you have those weapons that are involved predominantly in the loss of life and taking of life out there on a protracted, steady, consistent basis, those people would be let out of jail without bail. So you further doubled down on your lack of a commitment to protect the citizens, and you've turned normal citizens into criminals with this law, if it passes. That's my opinion, and I think that's where Executive Committee was going with it. And to support those police and law enforcement entities in those counties up in Cook County, basically, which is the whole reason for all of these laws, if you will. They're further making their problem the rest of state of Illinois as part of their solution, which it's two separate solutions, in my opinion. I think most people will realize that. So it's up for you to comment, change, add, motion to approve as it is. Hate to say it, bullets out of the gun, pun intended. They're already moving on this. That's another problem. We see these things after they've already acted on them for lame duck session, so we don't have a chance to weigh in on this. So I'd be happy to accept motions, comments, whatever the board wants to do. Mr. Tholen. Motion to approve from Mr. Tholen as it reads. Mr. Featherling with a second. Is there any comment from the board, pro or against? Because we want to be fair and get all sides of an issue out there. That's not a problem. Mr. Hunter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Have you interfaced with Senator Joyce and Representative Haas on this particular matter, and what's their opinion?
I sent them a note that it was coming before the board. I did tell them that I can't speak for the board because we hadn't gone through this process yet. But I did see where in previous versions they both did not support this. So I don't know the way the vote went. The last vote, I believe, that sent it back over to the House for reconciliation. I believe Senator Joyce voted against it then as well. I will look at it again. I believe he did.
Yeah, I think Senator Joyce said no. Jackie said no. I'm not sure about the other Sims and
I haven't checked.
Smith.
It's very difficult when they change the names of the bill in the middle of the night and create new bills for us to keep track of this. Does it sound like an accident when I say that? No, it's not. It's very difficult, and it goes against the spirit, I believe, I heard somebody say, of the way the legislature is supposed to act with full transparency. I might have heard that come out of somebody's mouth somewhere. But in some of these 748 pages, sorry. That's fantastic. But anyway, it's there. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I really don't. It's unconstitutional. It's going to be fought, and we just didn't want to sit back and say nothing on this aspect, even though it's not our purview as a county to make or change these laws. We can't even tell somebody not to enforce it because there may be a reason for them to enforce part of it, but not all of it. So I just don't even want to get into that. The whole thing is unconstitutional in my opinion, but I'm not a lawyer and didn't have the student loan payments to say I am one. So any other comments, please? Yes.
How does our state's attorney and sheriff feel about it?
Spotlight.
Yeah, we advise on legal matters. We don't give an opinion on whether we think the board should or should not support a specific resolution. So we leave that to the board's pleasure.
Pretty much the same, Sheriff? Yep. Ms. Foster, I'm sorry. Please give me a minute, please. I'm sorry. I got to recognize and get you on. There you go.
Thank you. I have an issue of the expediency to go ahead on and vote on this thing. I haven't really had a chance to read it in depth. So I don't know what the rush is. We don't know what the legislature is going to do. I think they've
already passed it. They've already passed it twice. The House and the Senate.
Isn't it going back?
It's going back for reconciliation because the Senate's version is supposedly watered down, according to the governor and others. The House is much more restrictive, even more restrictive than New York and California. So there's a reconciliation that has to go, but that's the expediency. We would love it if they did things the right way and had it out there for us to see so we could talk about it and debate it, put in witness slips and everything else. But the whole bait and switch thing keeps happening over and over again. It has for 20 years, to be honest. Any other thoughts on this? We have a motion and a second. Mr. Snipes.
Thank you.
Saw your hand.
We need to duly note that the county board can exercise only such powers that are expressly given by law. Just to make noise is not our objective here. If we want to challenge this as individual citizens of the state of Illinois, then that is our right to do so. But to waste time to just send our opinion to a legislative group that empowers this county board and all county boards in the 102 counties is counterproductive and a waste of time. Again, it is the people's voice that they need to hear. And the people's voice are your individual voices that you call. No more than when they will come into our deliberations and tell us what they think. If it's out of line with the law, then it will be exposed as such. If they are working on this bill, and it appears that they are, we have really no jurisdiction to step beyond our jurisdiction to tell them basically what we as a county board feel they should do, because we took a constitutional oath to uphold whatever laws that they basically pass. And if they're constitutional, then the individuals whose constitutional rights are being affected should be challenging the constitutionality. But as this county board, that is not our duty, neither is it our responsibility. Whether we agree in part or disagree, it is not our responsibility. It is a waste of time to me. So I'll be voting no as far as this is concerned. I believe let them do what the legislators do and weed it out. Call your legislators. We have Senator Patrick George, we got 3 in Kankakee County. We have 3 senators, we have 3 representatives. Call them, let them weigh in on the issues that they have to vote upon. But for us to come in and just say, let's waste time to send you a document that the county board of Kankakee decided to approve to help the state when we cannot really do that other than just making noise, it's counterproductive and a waste of our time. So for that reason, I'll be voting no.
Hey, Mr. Eckhoff. Sorry, there's a couple that want to talk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 9?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that they went ahead and stopped us from being able to go ahead and submit witness slips on each individual bill. But I think it is the purview of this board to go ahead and voice if we feel that something should not go ahead and be voted on or approved down in Springfield. We have that voice as a county board. So to say that this is a waste of time, that may be your purview, but go ahead and tell that to the citizens of this county. Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of where I was. I think the citizens of this county want us to waste our time on this issue, to be honest. Because it strikes at the, I didn't swear an oath to the legislature. I swore one to the United States and Illinois Constitution. So with that, is there any other comment? Voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
All right. There's 2. Mr. Kerster and Mr. Snipes were the nays, I believe. Were there any other nays? We need to single you out. We just want to make sure we got it noted. Moving on. The next one is not on the agenda, so it can't be a vote, but you need to know about this. I'll take a head nod. Last night was another middle of the night movement on a bill that directly impacts your ability to control solar and wind siting within Kankakee County. It's a big deal. It's House Bill 4412. I had it put on your pads, the iPads this morning. Basically, that was another one that they just did at last day of lame duck, which I don't know, is it today? I mean, they would have to pass stuff today, I believe, but this bill is going today to be voted on. The last couple of pages, if you go to the big, larger document here, The last couple of pages are an analysis that I asked Dell for regarding what this was going to do to the siting purview on wind and solar. There's like 70 pages. You see why I didn't print all this out for everybody. It would have killed a lot of trees. So I'll just mention that, you know, there's a lot of conflicts here. It basically says if it meets the state's guidelines, no county can enact any, you know, zoning regulations that's more strict than what the state says. Because there's counties out there that have said we're not going to do wind or solar because that's what they voted to do. To me, that's why you're here, is to represent your constituents, because Springfield is not going to have to deal with any repercussions or long-term impacts, if there are any, from wind or solar development, just like all other development in these areas. So it's very unclear about the 1.5 miles away from a municipality. You see there, you know, a county, we could say that you can do solar and wind by right if we wanted to. This law would say you can't. So what is that? It conflicts with farming laws. It conflicts with floodplain. It basically says that our drainage districts are now subservient to the state of Illinois instead of their own needs and wishes. I mean, it's way out there. And again, I see why it has so much support, especially within labor, because on a case-by-case basis, we can decide if it's a good thing. And we have decided that solar and wind are good things in certain areas that we want to do it, and some have voted against it, and that's the legislative process. This takes all local control away. And I have a problem with that. Now, I believe both our senator and our representative both voted against this as well when it was coming along through everything. So, but I want to be able to tell them that the board kind of shook our head and said, our constituents want us to be able to control those types of decisions locally. Right. It's not a state decision. So would you agree? Is there anybody that has a different viewpoint there? We're not anti-wind or solar here, but we definitely like the ability to say, not there. You know, this is where X was going to go, or this is part of our strategic plan for Y. This kind of knocks all that out of the ballpark. So any other different thoughts, Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any different thoughts, but I would like to express my view on House Bill 4412 as well. There may have been some amendments since I've last delved into this this bill, but in my opinion, this does not adequately protect our citizens' property rights. It also doesn't have any enforcement component for the Agricultural Impact Mitigation Agreement, or the AMA. I feel that the AMA must be a critical component of any solar and wind development, and it must be enforced. Another component that I didn't like in this House Bill 4412 was that salvage value of a facility could be used as an offset in the decommissioning amount, which is not allowed in the AMA. It also allows the facility to cross a drainage district facility without approval from that drainage district. And that not only affects that land within the wind or solar facility, but it would also affect the land upstream and downstream from that drainage district. It also does not require that a wind or solar development implements a drainage plan to deal with rainfall in that facility. So those are some things that I saw that I specifically opposed in this House Bill 4412.
Thank you. Any other thoughts there? I can pass those along. Those are pretty much in the comments that I sent to our senator and representative to say this is what I'm putting in front of the board. I have concerns here, as do many counties. I just think that if the city of Chicago or Cook County had any space to devote to wind or solar, they would understand these issues, because that's where all these are coming from. It really is. It's hard for me to begrudge them, because they just don't know what we're dealing with down here on that side of things. So they're trying a one-size-fits-all approach, and I think, what is it, Moultrie County said they didn't want any wind or solar. I think that's their right and their purview. I mean, who are they to make those land use decisions? Springfield? I don't know. Mr. Snipes?
Again, I'm going to say, restate what I said earlier, and I'm going to state it's great that you all are in opposition to some things or have some concerns concerning some things or some issues. We have a democracy here, and our democracy is set up whereas individuals can go to their representatives or their senators and write a letter. And I have not taken a poll here, but individually, if you ask yourself, have you individually contacted these individuals? Have you written out to them your concerns in writing so that they can look at them and take them into consideration because they represent this area? I think that it's putting the cart before the horse when we decide to just, again, make a statement in a little letter that perhaps maybe goes nowhere, because each of you as individuals are representing a district and as an individual have a duty. The people have a duty to take that responsibility. It's very simple. Go to their little website. They have the complaint, concerns, whatever you decide you want to express, you have that opportunity. But just to sit here and grandstand on a Monday morning and waste time saying that, well, we have issues, then put the issues together, contact them, and let's see if we can have a meeting with them to resolve it. If this is what's on your heart, your chest, and see what we can and cannot do in our respective areas. Again, the grandstanding, I'm not for, so whatever it is, I'm be voting against it, because you have the duty or you have a right to go and contact any of the representatives, and I think that it doesn't do a good due diligence when we decide to grandstand here, and they probably haven't even got a call from any of you all. So when I call them, they return a call, they answer. When I call the issue, and if I call Babonis, Bradley, they return my calls. That's what we do as government officials. We act as a liaison between the people and the respective areas of government to have a conversation to meet out these issues. And when we don't do that, not sending letters to Babonis, I'm going to call the mayor of Babonis. I'm not going to send it to Mantino. I'm going to call the mayor of Mantino. To just grandstand and sin, again, it's beneath what I call the level of intelligence of giving due diligence to any elected official.
Well, I appreciate you calling us all stupid, Mr. Snipes. That's not the first time you've done that, and I only see one grandstand in this room, sir.
Well,
Mr.
your
Hunter,
interpretation is your
Hunter, do you
interpretation.
Did I not say that I sent him every list of objection that we have?
You said
Thank
them.
you.
I said every county board member. So listen.
Mr. Hunter, you're next, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have discussed this particular
Unbelievable.
with Senator Joyce. I did do that, and in most instances, I do concur with his valued opinion and his expertise, and he did vote against this particular legislation.
Anyone else? Mr. Eckhoff, please, first.
Thank you, Number 9. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I don't see how this is a grandstand. If they're trying to go ahead and supersede county, and they're trying to go ahead and take our rights away from us. So we're trying to go ahead and say we want to have local control, local rights, and that's what we have currently. And they're trying to change the law. Thank you.
Ms. Monday first, and then Mr. Tholen, please.
Yes, I'd like to say thank you, first of all, for going ahead as chair and contacting and sending your thoughts and information. And certainly, most certainly, Mr. Snipes, I would like to say that if I would like to contact my representatives, I will definitely do that to answer any questions that I may have. I don't need you scolding me if I have not done that. As far as grandstanding, I do not appreciate your comments. And as far as the biggest waste of time we've experienced so far today, it has been coming from you. Thank you.
Is there Mr. Tholen, please?
It's Tuesday morning, not Monday morning.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts? Do we have a motion and a second on this? Oh yeah, we can't do that. It's just a head nod. Are we okay that I send it? And okay, thank you. Sorry, we'll get that 20 minutes back in our life. So moving on, let me get to the right spot on the agenda.
16.
Yeah, 16, authorizing the county board, if we can get the title, sorry.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the county board chairman to sign an agreement with SAQ Consulting Incorporated.
All righty. Is there a motion on that one to start with? Mr. Ashcraft, second with Mr. Fairfield. This was what we discussed in executive committee. The SAQ Consulting would be engaged from when this is signed through just the end of this next legislative session through June. So that would be all the way through potentially when a governor would sign a bill. They're going to help us with getting us added to the bill that would allow a court judicial fee to be collected upon case filings that allow us to save and bond against for the court system only. That is what Will County's on it. Then they were the first to do it, to build their courthouse. Then Kane did it. Then I believe McHenry, and then Kendall was this last legislative session. So we need someone to help us. I've already spoken to our representatives about that. They know that something's coming this next session that will start in January. So you have the agreement, I believe, in there. We went through in an executive. We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? The time period, the amount? It's less than we were paying before. So, no? Well, okay, roll call vote then.
Mr. Hess. Aye. Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Ms. Andrade. Ms. Armour Earps.
Aye.
Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday. Ms. Rittman-Ekemi. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. If we get the title of the next one read into the record, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County authorizing the County Board Chairman to place a citizens requested referenda supporting mental health on the ballot.
Before we get a motion, I just want to mention, I think it was Mr. Hess brought this up last night when we were talking on the phone. It says a 1/4 cent sales tax. I think we should maybe add in parentheses 0.25%, just to make sure that in the resolution it's clarified as such. A little vague, you know, so I just want to make sure that in the resolution, is that okay with everybody as an addition, just to kind of clarify that it means 0.25%? Okay. So on this, you know, I thought we just kind of free-form a discussion to start with, without any motions or anything, just to kind of get it on the floor, to get it, how this came about, any questions you may have, because this one came at us from out of nowhere. It came at me from out of nowhere. I didn't start this. I don't have all of the details, but I have researched what a 708 board is. I did that about 5 years ago when I was looking at what Iroquois County was doing, and as I find out, I left this on front of everybody's spot. These are all the counties that have either a 708 board, a 377, which is developmental disabilities, a 553 board of health, or a combination of those. So I just wanted to draw attention that we're one of the outliers that really doesn't have any of them in the form that this describes. So there is no current situation. We're kind of the exception, not the rule, on some level for these things. So I just want to put that out there. I can't find any other one that's funded by sales tax. They're all done by property tax that I have found. So that's, and you may, and we'll get to that. If you have something else on that, Deb, we'll get that in a minute. But there's the ones that I have been looking, we'll get that clarified. So, but just, I don't have a lot of information on this. The public doesn't have a lot of information on this. When I knew that this was being talked about like a year ago, but I didn't know it was happening until really the Friday before our executive committee meeting when I was doing the agenda for that meeting. Completely blindsided. So it's completely and totally a community ask at this point. And so I said, I don't have the details. In fact, I don't even if I knew, I shouldn't answer them. It should be the group that wants this on the ballot. And so you're being asked, you know, because they do not have and didn't have enough time to get the 2,800 signatures, and you can discuss why and all that with them, what would it take for the board to act to be able to put it on the ballot in the manner that they're asking? Okay, that's does the public, do we believe the public should weigh in on an issue as important as this? That's really what we're asking, not to support it, to do anything. Should the public weigh in on something like this? So with that being said, I guess we could start off with questions that you may have. One of them was, you know, where does this money go that I had? And that's why I had to tell everybody a 708 board is almost like the Board of Health, almost exactly. It's a 7-member board that would be appointed if this passes. It does not go to anybody's particular, it doesn't go to Project Sun. It doesn't go into their coffers, okay? It's not a referendum to benefit one. It's a referendum that puts a board in place, you know, of people in that field or community leaders, if you will, that don't have a conflict, if you will. But then they decide, well, who are we going to contract for these services for the community? They don't actually even do any of the work. They're a board, much like the health department, and in a lot of ways, they'll contract with people. So please, any and all questions, I'm not going to answer them. Deb and the group is in the back. They can go up on the microphone and field them one at a time. Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. A couple questions, Rhonda and Dr. Barron, with respect to if indeed you have interfaced with our primary legislators, Jackie Haas and Senator Joyce, Representative Haas. Additionally, would it be forthcoming in terms of a bill that would maybe parallel this particular initiative? Additionally, this is probably really important, and it probably impacts all 102 counties. Where does the state of Illinois fit in terms of allocation of funds for mental health services nationally? Where do they rank?
I got to repeat the questions, Commissioner.
Yeah, no problem, Dr. Barron. I was just wondering, with respect to, if you interface with Senator Joyce and Representative Haas about this particular matter, and also, have you talked with them about introducing some kind of legislation that would provide the $3 million for your program? Additionally, where does the state of Illinois rank in terms of allocation of funds for mental health services nationally, 1 through 50, or 1 through 51, including District of Columbia?
Well, I can answer that last question first. No, I do not know the answer to that question. As far as talking to Representative Haas, we have spoken to Representative Haas. She has taken a pledge not to support any tax increases, and so she has reserved the commenting on this particular legislation, this particular referendum. I have talked to a member of Senator Joyce's staff, and he believed that Senator Joyce would be in full support of this referendum. No, we have not looked to a parallel state initiative, because that's part of the point we're trying to make. We can't depend on Washington and Springfield to solve this problem for us. Our county, our practitioners, our providers have been very active in securing as many grants as they can, but grants come and go, and we need a stable, reliable source of funding.
So are you saying you will still go after grants, but this is a baseline of funding that you can predict from year to year to year?
Of course,
okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure that. Yes. And Mr. Hunter, about 6 years ago, we were 51st out of 50 states. We spent less money on mental health in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I was looking for those numbers because I for some reason, the allocation of funds in supporting for mental health services was abysmal in the state of Illinois, and I just couldn't recall where we ranked.
Yeah, and yesterday I was in a meeting with some mental health practitioners who reported that Medicaid has reduced their reimbursement even further. And if any of you are involved with Medicaid reimbursements, they grossly underpay the provider, so that almost every community mental health agency or provider has to have a fundraising arm to compensate for the deficit between what the state and federal government pay and what their actual costs are. And that actually is a real problem in this community for Helen Wheeler to maintain their staff, because their staff leave to go other places to make more money.
The other thing that if if you're getting reimbursed less for the same service, that's less people you can see, because there's only so many billable hours to that one doctor or provider. So you see how that works against putting more people into the funnel. That actually pushes people back outside of the funnel when they reduce their rates. So I just want to mention that. Mr. Featherling.
Mr. Chairman, I've been here for quite a few years, and I don't ever remember us taking testimony from anybody that did public comment before. She hasn't been sworn in. We don't have a court stenographer here or anything to go word for word on this conversation.
This is a planning meeting. I'm sorry. This is
okay. Well, it's a public meeting, so.
So you object to this process?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to exclude her from this process?
Sure.
Is there a second to exclude?
Exclude audience members from the comments of the board.
Is there a second to that motion? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Second to that motion. Is there any comment on excluding the people asking for us to put this on the ballot to providing us information? Mr. Snipes.
Now, this is the time that I think that we should include the people. You want to listen to the people, let the people speak for themselves. I believe that at this opportunity that they should be included so that you have a basis for your decision on today. I believe that mental health is a critical issue. I'm dealing with an issue right now as a chaplain with an individual who lost their father at the Prairie State Farm to a gunshot, which could have been prevented if that individual had mental health services, considering that they tried that in 2018. So things are devastating, and then the issue is after the person's gone, the families have to still deal with it. So I do believe, I work for the Department Shapiro, and I've also worked for the prison at Pontiac, and I work for the school district. So I see on an everyday basis the importance and the relevancy of having mental health. So those individuals who have taken the opportunity to go out, get the signatures, to ask the county board should have the opportunity to speak. And as a county board, we have that due diligence to do so, and we can approve it. So I would support including them instead of excluding them.
Mr. Chairman, there was something I would like to say to that comment right there.
Well, we have to wait until other people have a, we're not going to get into a fight this way.
No, okay.
I think the proper way to do it is if someone's going to speak, give a motion to suspend the rules to allow that person to speak on the topic. I don't think that there should be a blanket motion to exclude anyone from speaking on it, right? But if they want someone to speak, then you would suspend the rules to allow someone from the public that might be able to provide information helpful to it.
I think that's highly accurate. I think it's the same thing, but from the correct angle of Robert's rules.
Yeah, so you want me to?
Yeah, please explain that.
So the proper process here is not to necessarily make a motion to exclude anyone from talking. The proper process is, if the board wishes to hear from someone, you would have a motion to suspend the rules to allow that person, to engage in either back and forth, question and answer, to answer a question. So she was asked a question by Mr. Hunter, and she was just merely responding to it. So I would say going forward, if a board member has a question from someone in the audience, the proper process may be just to suspend the rules, because normally there isn't an opportunity for interaction in the course of a board meeting outside of public comment.
Right.
But instead of a blank, because you may want to hear from someone in this room who has expertise that isn't on the board. So I think keeping that door open, the proper process is if you want to hear from someone, you make a motion, and then the board can decide to suspend those rules or not.
Okay.
So I would ask that both of you please withdraw that motion.
Okay. Well, I just finished my statement. I wasn't saying anything against mental health. I'm just saying procedure-wise, I didn't think it was right. So that's my opinion.
All right, so those, are you both going to rescind that?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Well, then, is there a motion to suspend the rules and allow the interaction on this subject matter? Ms. Monday, and we'll go with Ms. Foster with a second. All those in favor of suspending the rules say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And by the way, for clarification, it could be any one of the subject matter experts that is here that is knowledgeable on the topic that's part of the group, correct?
Absolutely.
All right.
That same
Thank you. We
motion.
don't have to do each one. I just want to make sure we're okay. We good? Okay. Where are we at now? I'm sorry. Questions? We'll go with Mr. Fairfield, please.
I was just curious if electronic signatures are valid.
They're not valid in the official process, which this isn't the official process.
Okay.
This is us asking give us a significant amount of signatures just to show the public wants this on the ballot.
Okay.
Because there was no way in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks they were going to get 2,800 signatures door to door.
They didn't have,
you know, so 6 months, yes, but not 2 weeks. You know,
Thank you.
Yep. So I'll go with Mr. Eckhoff first. Is this your first time? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Us board members have been a part of the petition process since we had to file signatures to run for our current county board seats. We know the deadlines, signature requirements, and most importantly, walk door to door and get people to sign our paper petitions. I believe if we allow this, we're setting a new precedent on placing the citizen referendum on the ballot. If you don't have enough signatures, the county board will put it on the ballot for you. This will lead to further issues down the road for this board and future boards, in my personal opinion. At the executive committee meeting, I voted yes to allow this to proceed to today's full county board meeting. I believe every member should have a say on this issue. I'm not voting against mental health, veterans, or a community needs assessment. I'm voting against this process before us today. I'll vote no on putting this on the ballot as it stands. I have no problem with an advisory referendum being placed on the ballot to see where the public stands on this issue. With that, it would give this group time for the next cycle to go ahead and get the correct amount of signatures and not be so rushed. I'm willing to sit down with anyone in the county to talk about this issue, because I do see the need for mental health resources. I believe there is a path here, but we need to do it the right and the correct way.
Is there any other thoughts on that, Mrs. Weber?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support the approval of placing the referendum supporting mental health on the ballot this spring for the following reasons. First, after weeks of inviting county residents to express their ideas on important needs of the people, the responses expressed were that mental health issue was one of the priorities. Plus, the 2022 Illinois Youth Survey identified a mental health crisis concerning local youth, and those thoughts are noted on the resolution. Secondly, month after month, the county board members review reports from the Sheriff's Office, Probation Department, Coroner's Office, Veterans Administration, Health Department, State's Attorney, and others, each identifying the roles that mental health issues play in the administrating of their duties. 3, mental health issues affect most families, as well as the services provided by the schools, the hospitals, and the social service agencies. 4, the concerned citizens who brought this proposal to the county board work directly with county residents, and they know firsthand the needs of the people. 5, this is another good example of the story of the mustard seed. Planting a good idea among caring people will grow tremendously positive results. And finally, 6, we certainly are familiar with the message, it is never too late to do the right thing. And I believe this is the right thing to do to allow the voters to decide on this question. Thank you.
Go with Mr. Smith first.
Right now, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It feels like we have only people that are for this, which I am as well. However, we don't have the voters in here to give their opinion. It seems like everyone in the back is all on the same team, but as far as voters and people that may have a different opinion, we're excluding them in this process, and in my opinion, and I think we need people in here that can be pro and against at the same time and give their opinions. It's a 1/4%, if that's what you want to call it, tax, if it gets voted in for now. But it's only going to rise after that.
It would have to go to referendum.
Yes, I understand that, but in the event that it were voted on and we just okayed this without the people, it's still not going to be.
We'll just know that the people have to vote on it. But they're not here to voice their opinion where they even.
Is what my thoughts are. Yes.
So that's what you're saying. They don't have the public hasn't had the opportunity to say don't even put it on the ballot.
Well, yeah, because there's no handwritten signatures per se. I mean, no one's gone to the door and given them.
About half of them are. But again, you're correct. It wasn't done the traditional way.
It wasn't done with the requirements that we should be adhering to as a board.
Okay. And I'm not trying to affect you, but we could have just done it without any signatures ourselves. There's two avenues. The board could just do it, or they could get signatures. Here we kind of combined the two and said, what does the public want us to do? So just so you know, it can go either way. It's not one or the other. It can go either one of those two. Mr. Featherly.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first time for this topic for me.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure you knew that. I wanted to got a couple of things to discuss here. Is that we're always involved in paying and seeing and writing bills and reports and everything going on all the time, and we never. I don't know what the word to use, I guess, would be, is I don't think $3 million is going to go very far. I've been involved in stuff here, Andy. We know how fast the money goes away. You know, can you hire psychiatrists and, you know, have a building and have a bus to transport people and people working inside to work as receptionists and everything else just from funding from our county? The state's been funding these facilities since I was a kid. We had Mantino Mental Hospital, we had Tinley Park Mental Hospital, we had Ludeman Center in Park Forest, we had, there's one in Southern Illinois, I can't recall the name of it, have all been closed. Those people have all been released to the streets. The state dropped the ball on their funding for those properties. Mantino Mental Hospital was funded by the state, everything else was on the state. This is gonna produce about a $3 million a year that they're estimating. Nobody really knows for sure, but that's $3 million out of the taxpayer's pocket in Kankakee County. That's my opinion. So that's a bunch of cars that won't get bought, houses that won't get bought. You say a quarter of a percent, 0.25%. It's not a lot on some items, but on other items it is. And then the other thing, we have. I don't really want to be involved in starting a tax anywhere, increase on anybody. I've been here and we haven't done that yet. We haven't increased. All we did was get what we needed to make what everybody else in the world got, their 3% or whatever it was for the year for the inflation. We've never asked for any more, not a dime more from anybody. I had a bunch of other things to say, but I think Colton hit a few of them. I really feel as though we really do need this help. I feel bad that we're sending police officers to domestic disputes and there's nobody with them to protect the police officers. And I didn't know if this new bill that came out from the last one to come out of the White House involved quite a bit of funding for mental health and veterans and so on. So I don't know if it's, grants are available, things are available too, but I just, how many times can we hit the people of Kankakee County in their wallets? Everybody's not a lawyer that makes a lot of money. Everybody's not a doctor that makes a lot of money. Some people are retired and they're on fixed incomes, and 25% or 0.25% of a percent doesn't sound like a lot, but it'll add up over a period of a year to everybody's pocket. So, hey, anybody else has anything? Go ahead. Here we go.
Anyone else? Mr. Carrico, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to just stay and focused on the process and the procedure versus debating if an individual is either against or pro of mental health. I'd like to start by saying that, explain my position on the issue and the procedure here. As an allied healthcare professional myself and having a postgraduate degree in psychology, I am pro mental health care services. However, I'm also pro proper procedure. As a county board member, I believe that we should not bypass the rules of obtaining the required number of signatures by the deadline to be placed on a ballot. According to previous statement of 580 signatures that was acquired by signatures on a paper, that corresponds to about 20% of the total required signatures that was actually to be given on January 3rd. So for that reason, I'm not actually going against mental health services. I'm just trying to stick with the proper procedure of obtaining the proper number of signatures, and for that reason, I cannot vote yes for that.
Let's go with Ms. Parker and then Ms. Monday, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support
any kind of service that will help people with mental illnesses. I've been in education nearly be 30 years this year, as a matter of fact, and definitely from children to adults, there is a need. Actually, over the years, it has increased significantly of teens that do have some sort of an issue. I have a two-part question. I hope I don't sound too stupid, but is it right? We need to know, I'm worried about the taxes increases and a lot of the villages in April. How many of those villages are going to be asking for an increase in taxes? And then the other question I have for you, do we need to start a 708 board before this is done, or is this done afterwards? Or is it necessary to have a 708 board?
By law, if this passes, you start a 708 board. That's my understanding of the law. Is that accurate, Deb, from what you see as well? Okay. That's so if the public votes this in, then the 708 board is established, 7 members are appointed. They determine their budgets, their mission statement, their bylaws, action plan, just like the health department when the voters approve that. Same. What else was there? I'm sorry, what was the other one?
It was just, I'm concerned because I'm out there, I talk to a lot of parents, I talk to a lot of people in my area. They're all concerned about any increases in taxes.
Oh.
And that is what I wanted to know, is how many of the villages or municipalities in our county are going to be adding that referendum of their own in April?
I don't think anyone's announced anything yet. I don't think there's been a public announcement of any of that.
No referendum has been filed with us at this moment.
Do you want to tell them that, Dan?
Fire protection.
Mrs. Parker, at this moment, there have been no referendums filed from any unit of local government for the April election.
Okay, and that the deadline.
The deadline is a week from today.
It's a week from today. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
And that's why this is before this board today. That's why that Friday last month was the big eyes got this big, because this is how long we would have to get in front of you and decide if we're going to allow the public to even vote on it, to get them to weigh in. So Mr. Hess, I'm sorry, Mr. Hess, I got to go with Miss Monday first. I already called that, please.
That's okay. I don't mind taking a back seat too, Mr. Hess.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman. I guess the question would be to Mr. Rowe. Are we doing something illegal if we put this before the public to vote on this?
No, so I want to clarify a few things, because I've heard a few comments made on the record that concern me a bit. First, I think it should be made clear nobody was excluded. And I understand what Mr. Smith is saying. The individuals in the back of the room are squarely for the referendum. They had the same opportunity to appear as anyone who is against it had to appear today. So if someone opposed this, if there was a strong opposition to it in the community, they could have filled this room just as well. We've had times where people have been out into the hallway in opposition. So nobody's necessarily been excluded from this process. Anyone was welcome to attend today and voice support one way or another. As to the procedural issue, this board has many times initiated a county-driven referendum without a single signature, electronically or in writing. You did it twice for the safety tax. I believe there was a referendum. The river may have been
Conservancy got signature.
Signature-driven. But this board has put referendums on the past specifically for a tax, 1/4% with a 4-year sunset provision, which I think would almost mirror what they're seeking here, if I'm not mistaken.
No sunset.
No sunset. So 1/4% tax, same thing that was put on for public safety on 2 occasions. Ultimately didn't pass, but that was the will of the voters. So there's 2 ways you can do a petition. It can be citizen driven, where they come in with the petition signatures, or it can be board initiated. So there's nothing illegal or improper if the board today were to decide to go forward with this referendum. And if other villages run other referendums for tax increases, whatever their basis is, the voters are going to have to weigh those and decide if they vote for them or no against all of them, or yes for any of them. That's going to be up to the will of the voters. I'll say, you know, tomorrow at the criminal justice meeting, I hope to have 2 young men from my office who have stepped up and repeatedly helped people who came to the state's attorney's office seeking mental health assistance. Of all places in the world to go, you come knocking on our door. And you know why? Because they have exhausted every other door to knock on in our community. And these young men step up and they bring them. They drive them in their own car. I've done it. The coroner Gessner has done it. I know the sheriff has done it. We bring them up to Rosecrans on the south side. We bring them to local agencies. They put them in their own vehicle. They buy them food with their own money. And sometimes they just drive around with them aimlessly, waiting for other people to call them back. They sat up there till almost 9 o'clock at night at Riverside. And these guys, their job is community outreach. It's got nothing to do with mental health. But we're being put in that position as a prosecutor's office. The police officers that respond, how dangerous of a situation to respond without the training, without adequate support personnel on scene with them. My God, like, have we not seen what's happened in our community, right? And the attack nationally on law enforcement, and we don't have the supports to provide them. Mental health, the response in this community is wholly inadequate. And it is to the level where it is dangerous. It is a health crisis, a public safety crisis. If you don't work in this realm, you may not see it. You may see the guy with the sign on the corner, right, or at the exit on off Route 50 there, right? And you may see people walking around our community all the time. But until you understand, these are 18, 19, 20-year-olds, effectively kids who are homeless, with mental illness, with addiction problems, with significant trauma. And we are telling them as a community, not any of you personally, but because this county's response, the community's response has been so inadequate, we are telling them to fend for yourself, figure it out. Imagine being homeless and mentally ill and addicted to drugs with no cell phone and trying to get treatment. Imagine that red tape. It does not, services for those individuals, and there are 1,000 of them, if not more, in our community. Those services don't exist. So the board's will on this referendum, whether you want the people to vote on it or not, that's up to the board, right? But while that's your decision, your duty is to make sure that you do something to help these individuals. So whether this goes to referendum or not, and if it does and if it fails, the problem still exists. You have to do something. If you don't think that the quarter of a quarter percent is the solution, what is the solution? We can say grants. I love grants. Everybody on this board knows. If there's a grant, I want to apply for it. My experience with grants is they're not going to fund a pipe dream. You've got to have something in place before someone's going to invest in round 2 and round 3, right? So this may not be enough to build a mental health facility made out of gold, but maybe it's the necessary first step. But regardless of what you do today, have it front of mind, this problem's not going away, and it is your job and what you were elected to do to address it.
Can I follow up, sir?
Yeah, that was.
Can I follow up?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I'm going to make the motion. We go ahead and put this to the public. We need to do something, and we need to get it done. Put it to the public, let them make the decision. I don't think this is a board decision. We are not voting on any tax increase. We are not doing anything. It's going to go to the public for the vote. That's my motion.
I got to get a second first.
I got a second right here.
Hunter? Okay. Yes, sir.
Of course you want to hit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a quick question for Mr. Rowe. The answer, by allowing this to move forward and putting it on the ballot, we would not be setting precedent, so to speak, and doing something we haven't done in the past?
It's actually been done in the past this very way.
Okay.
Yeah, this would not be a new precedent.
Thank you.
Just so you know, I don't want to say not olive branches because there wasn't a situation, but my recommendation was to the group, just show the board that there's people behind this that support this out in the community. It's not going to be binding because we would still have to act on our own to put it on the ballot. I just was trying to give you something to base your decision on instead of just 5 people in the room saying something and a needs assessment and other needs assessment.
Certainly.
I don't think we need to be convinced of the need. I think there were some that had issues with the process and maybe that's what I think Jim was addressing here. Process almost be damned. It's that important. So,
and this is a legal process.
Right, it is a legal process.
Yeah, there's nothing
Ms.
wrong
Andrade
with doing
first.
it this way.
The only thing I would like to add to Mr. Rowe's comment is mental health doesn't even have like being homeless or anything. Like we could be sitting in a room and half of us have mental health issues. So mental health is something really big in Kankakee County. We don't even know what it looks like.
Mr. Snipes.
Yeah. Thank you. Jim Rowe so eloquently spoke, and he's also on all different specters in the schools and the like. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree on some things, but I absolutely agree wholeheartedly with what he basically stated, and then some of the others. Mental health in not only Kankakee County, but because I live in Kankakee County, mental health is like CPR. There needs to be some type of resuscitation for it to survive. You don't have adequate economic avenues out there. There are some, but they fall out quick because the need is greater. They did bring up, because I wanted to highlight that this is even though Jackie said I don't raise the taxes on the people, I don't think she would be opposed when you saying take it to the people and let the people decide. And that's what this does. It lets the people decide. We did it for the courthouse initiative before. We did it for other initiatives. So there's nothing out of order that we're doing here. I think that is a great need. I think if there's any need that you need to fight, that's cross-categorical, no matter what your economic base, no matter what your status is, no matter what degrees you got, this is the issue, because it transcends across those lines. So I agree. Let the people decide. We stated earlier that we were speaking for the people. So now, since we want to speak for the people, we can't change our minds and not speak for the people. So if we are speaking for the people, and certainly people have spoke, and they're from different areas of the county, and then you got 1,000 signatures, so I concur even with the chairman, that he said, let's get some teeth behind this, some voters, and that has been done. So they've done what they have done, and now they're before this body and saying, time is of the essence. I can guarantee you the moment that we put this on the ballot, their work has just begun, because they have to get out there and convince at least 60,000 voters, half of them and plus one, to vote for this. So they have a great responsibility. Let's lighten the load by getting this on the ballot.
All right. Any more first times? If not, a second time, Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate the strong comments of Mr. Rowe and regarding to the importance of mental health services for this community. I just want to make sure that we are here to evaluate the process of option one, which was to provide or acquire the required signatures. And I continue to say that I am pro mental health, and I do agree with Mr. Rowe on that. It's very important. We have a deficit when it comes to services, and we need help. However, I'm not here to either go against mental health services. I'm here to pretty much evaluate and decide on number one option of the procedure of getting this on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, go with Ms. Foster first. Sorry, make sure I get the right
I just
one.
wanted to say that we've heard from our state's attorney who represents the county, who represents us. He has told us that it's legal. We've done it before. We are in a new age. You know, we Zoom, we text, we do everything. Everything is new. This process is not new. We're going to put it on, let's put it on the ballot and give the voters a chance to vote whether they are for the 0.25 increase or not. And I think the chairman just said, you know, their work is cut out for them because they're going to have to go out there and talk to the voters. for this upcoming election. Mental health affects all of us, and it's running rampant in our, not only in Kankakee County, but, you know, in our, nationwide. So I think it's something that we can do, and people can make their own decisions of whether they want to support it or not support it.
Thank you. Mr. Eckloff first.
Second time.
Or second time, yeah. Well, there's two people that want to hit.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hendrickson, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot. For the first time for a citizens referendum, if they did not go ahead and get the required amount of signatures, which this is 1,100 signatures out of the 2,800 signatures, have we done this before in the past, to your knowledge, of the board allowing a referendum to go on the ballot by the citizens coming here instead of getting the referendum required amount of signatures?
Well, I wouldn't want to speak to how boards have made decisions to put referenda on the ballot before. I would assume at some point members of the public spoke to them about a need for what have you.
Okay, but then
several years ago when the electrical aggregation question was out for the unincorporated areas, I've got to assume that there were people, citizens in the unincorporated area, that came to their board representatives and said, you know, hey, negotiate for us. But do I have any empirical evidence speaking to that? I do not.
Okay. But the process, I understand Mr. Rowe's comments on the process. Just in my eyes, not getting the signatures, going online, getting only 580 to go ahead and get to the door. If they were to go ahead and do a citizens referendum, go to your office, file it, they would not be able to today. Today, we are giving them the opportunity to go ahead and place it on the ballot through the board. This is the new
deadline
norm,
for a citizen-initiated referenda was to
23rd.
submit signatures on January to us on January 3rd.
Okay, so this started on December 22nd. They could have done it by January 3rd. They could have done it right after the election process. My comment is just that it's a sticky situation for the board because it sets a new precedent on that section, in my eyes. Thank you.
Ms. Parker first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know this is a delicate a vote coming up, and I am looking at the clock. I need to leave because I'm teaching a class at 11:15. May I have permission to leave?
You don't need my permission. You can just go.
Can I go?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I know I don't want to miss the vote, but
know.
I do support.
Well, I think I just saw one or two hands, so there may be more. I can't guarantee. Mr. Kirkstra, please. I saw your hand go up.
As far as a positive note is concerned on this on this referendum coming going onto the ballot, that will be in April. Am I correct? In April, that this if it gets on the ballot, that it'll be voted on. I think how many signatures have they gotten so far? 1,148. I think that's a pretty good showing that people are interested in it, whether it's an electronic signature or not. And I think that the county board should approve to move further with this. Mental health issue is not an issue that came up from COVID. Okay, mental health issues have been something that's been going on for 40 years, ever since they stopped funding it. And if we want to show these people that have the grant money that we're serious about fighting mental health in our community, we need to have the backing of our community, which is 1/4 cent, 1/4 of 1 cent. On retail, I believe it was. Let's show them that we're serious. And they'll come knocking on our door once we show that these programs work and help the communities. So I think there's been enough deliberation on this. The simple fact is these people have been out working. They've been trying to get it passed. They've done the best they could, and I think we should applaud them. Leave it up to the voters. The voters are going to make the decision whether they're going to have the 1/4% increase on there. 1/4 of 1 cent increase on there.
Any others? I think Mr. Featherling.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not saying, believe me, I know we need lots of mental health. Mr. Rowe, I agree with you 100%. I just see it. I talk to police officers. I talk with many of them You know, I saw a guy coming down in Farm and Fleet screaming and yelling at cars standing in the middle of the road, and I found out they can't really do anything to him, because unless nobody complains about it, they can't really do anything, and if they do, they go to the hospital and the guys are out right away. I understand that. But I'm saying that I don't believe that the people of Kankakee County's pockets are deep enough to keep reaching into. I go to Menards the other day, paid $8.25 for sales tax, extra 2% to Bradley, I believe, Andy, is that correct? And now Bourbonnais is requesting or gonna vote on it or something. I heard, you know, it goes around, comes around. Sometimes they have, sometimes they don't. But how much more can we take? The state has been funding this stuff in the past. I really believe the concentration should be on Springfield to get the money for everybody, and let it come from the city of Chicago, where people can get on a train and hop out and come out here anytime they want to. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So it needs to be more than just our little county trying to pay the bill. You know, it needs to come from, where's the rest of that sales tax go to? Besides us, it goes to the state. So
well, that quarter would come here. Yeah, 0.25%. Go to Ms. Monday first, and then Mr. Smith.
Let's just clarify. We are talking about 1 penny for every $4 spent in resale. This is clearly not going to break the bank at anyone's pocket. 1 penny. You can find a penny laying on the street if you want. If you need to pick that up, pick it up. I mean, that's what we're talking about from financial. But regardless of that, because it is up to the voters, contrary to popular belief, I follow the rules usually. But and I appreciate our board members for expressing their opinion on needing the full 2,800 signatures. But again, I go back to, this is not setting a precedent. Thank you for expressing that, Mr. Hendrickson, Mr. Rowe. We are not setting a precedent by doing this. This already has been done before, where the board has put it on without any signatures. So let's just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Mr. Smith? Nope. Any others? All righty, call for the question, not debatable. Unfortunately. Seconded. There is a second here. Roll call on the call question, please.
Can you restate the motion? Can you restate the motion again?
No, he called the question, so we're voting on the question being called. That's the motion.
We're voting on the question, or
when you call the question, and is there any, if there's dissension, you have to make sure that it's okay that we close debate, correct? I mean,
yeah. What are we just? Why are they calling it closed question? Was there additional debate?
Well, Mr. Hunter made the motion, which is not debatable. Then there was a second, so then somebody yelled roll call, and so then I've got a roll call, a motion to close debate.
Okay.
Do you rescind the roll call to close the debate, or
rescind the roll call for the debate? We just talking about roll call for
the original motion question. Motion is to close the debate. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty. Do we have a motion and a second on the original question? Alrighty. Then we would need a roll call vote on that. Thank you.
Did you want to go first on this one? Or?
No.
Okay.
This is the roll call on the initial question. If we're going to put this on the ballot, so the public has a chance on Bones' original motion, so the public has a chance to say yes or no. It's not us endorsing. It's just putting it there.
Get ready. Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Nay.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hutter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Nay.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Nay.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Ms. Andrade.
Aye.
Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft.
Nay.
Ms. Monday.
Aye.
Ms. Rittman-Akemi.
Aye.
Mr. Scanlon.
Aye.
Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. What was the total there?
16-6.
16-6. Motion carries. Alrighty, moving on. We'll get the, we've got to have the state's attorney let us know exactly what form. The courts, I think they have to certify this, I believe, and we'll get all that together in the next, the language and all that stuff over the next day or so.
When do you need that by?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, it's an ASAP thing. So, just so you know, the way that I view this, and I have all along, we're giving the public a chance to say yes or no. That's our role in this, and we're not advocating that the crew doing that is leaving the building, you know, like Elvis. So, I just want to mention that. Moving on, under finance, we can get that title read in the record.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorization to hire the accounting firm of Smith, Kelling, Dykstra, and Ohm, PC, to audit fiscal year 2022 annual financial statements.
Mr. Eckhoff, do you have a motion on that out of finance? Second, Mr. Fairfield, any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess. Mr. Tholen. Mrs. Polk. Mr. Snipes. Mrs. Weber. Mr. Fairfield. Mr. Carrico. Mr. Eckhoff. Mr. Featherling. Mr. Miller. Mr. Kirkstra. Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith. Mr. Hildebrand. Ms. Foster. Ms. Andrade. Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday. Ms. Rittman-Akemi. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under ARPA, is there any of those that need to be considered separately of that consent agenda list? Give you a minute to look at those. Anyone that needs to be pulled off? Otherwise, I need a motion to combine and approve. Mr. Hunter, second.
Polk.
Dr. Polk, we can get those read in the record, please.
Authorizing expenditure from fiscal year 2022 Fund 95 America Rescue Plan Fund for the following: Village of Sun River Terrace, Limestone Fire Protection District, and from Fund 98 for the Kankakee County Sheriff's Department for vehicles, for social services programming for Kankakee County, and amending Resolution 2021-09-14-333 to $30,000 for the license plate reader program.
I think we saw some cost increase, I believe. So we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess. Aye. Mr. Tholen. Aye. Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Aye. Mrs. Weber. Aye. Mr. Fairfield. Mr. Carrico. Aye. Mr. Eckhoff. Aye. Mr. Featherling. Aye. Mr. Miller. Aye. Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Aye. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Dry's gone. Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday.
Aye.
Ms. Rittman-Akemi.
Aye.
Mr. Scanlon. Aye. Ms. Turner. Aye. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. We have a few openings.
One opening on the Momence Yellowhead Drainage District number 1, one opening on Mantino Drainage District number 3, one opening on the McGillivray Special Drainage District, one opening on the Emergency Telephone System Board, 911, 3 openings on the ICANN Joint Education Committee for board members.
Alrighty. Is there any new business or old business from the board? Mr. Snipes.
Yes, I want to speak concerning an issue that I had before this particular board. Then after reading Supreme Court cases, the Illinois Attorney General, I come to the conclusion that we, in our resolution for the county board, that we are partially in compliance, but we're not in compliance per se. We, in the language, other than the word meeting, the county board cannot, and again, they're in violation of the Constitution. The law, as this state, I've taken right out of the Supreme Court, the law is well settled that when the Constitution or the laws of the state creates an office, prescribe the duties of the incumbent, and fixes compensation, no other person or board, except by action of the legislator, has authority to contract, and it goes further. We cannot change the county board on its Resolution 2021-0511 basically states, and it's your word, now be it therefore resolved by the County Board of Kankakee County that the compensation for board members of $75 per diem for meetings attended and a $10,000 life insurance policy is hereby approved, confirmed, and ratified. The per meeting part is unconstitutional. We can only set the per diem or the salary. We cannot say per meeting. In fact, reading this, the county board, if you do the per diem, they can attend every county board meeting, and you would have to pay them a per diem for attending the 7 that we basically approved. So when you look at the 7 times the 75, and then add in the county board meeting, you're talking the $7,200 a year. So divide that into 12 months, you're talking $600 a month. Is basically the basis or what you can't go below. So I would advise, before we have to do before I request a writ of mandamus, is that you seek with the state's attorney, which is the officer here, and if you want the opinion on that, they have it here as well. That's who we have to go through. County can't get any other attorney. They have to go through the state's attorney. So that's been well settled as well. But the per diem is only to what they go, I mean, because we elected not to do the salary. So what they do is they add it up, and at the end of the year, it lets us know what that basis is, because you're not just there because you can call special meetings and all of that, but just the basis, you cannot attach it to a committee and do similar to what you all done and control one's compensation. Because technically, if they don't make a meeting, according to the Supreme Court, if they make a meeting or never show up, they are still entitled, because you can't reduce it or increase it. When I saw that, I kind of disagreed, but that's the law of the land. So everybody wants to follow the Constitution. This is the opportunity to basically do so. And this county board, because we've been doing it for years, but it is against the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and is well settled in the Supreme Court. Matter of fact, in a verse case where two general assemblies decided that they wanted to draw compensation 8 to 16 years later. Want to put that over there for Mr. Rowe, and that's coming out in September of 2022. They had a claim. The Supreme Court went through the whole process, and but the problem was there was latches to it because they were out of office for so long. We're not out of office. We're still here, and the law still applies. And in our official capacity, or my official capacity as county board member, we're saying that we want, because if we're in violation of the Constitution, you swore to uphold the Constitution of the state of Illinois and the laws of the land, then we're in violation. Today is the day that we need to make this right, because you cannot attach it, and you can check for yourself. You cannot attach a meeting. The other thing is that I could deem it almost retaliation, because you come after Kim, Janet Peters, who basically voted with me. All of these people, met with some type of retaliation for whatever their efforts. But nevertheless, whether we look at the retaliation or not, on the county board website, it says these words. Now you look at it, because I didn't put it there, it's there. It says, every member of the county board shall be on at least 2 committees. That, again, is not even the case here. However, it's the county board and then this one committee. Then the committees can be appointed by the chair, but it has to be with the consent of the county board. I still do not have any record of the county board consenting to anything. I don't even call a meeting. For us, back in the day, they would ask us, what committee would you like to be on? And we would get together, whatever. And I served up under everybody from Marvel Hendricks coming across down to the bottom. And know them all, served with them all. So, and that's starting in 1990 till...
I have a point of order on the floor.
5 minutes, vote, please.
5 minutes? Is there, the chair rules.
Well, if you talk
You're
about
done.
5 minutes, they should have said that.
Take it to the
prior
judge, Mr. Snipes. Take it to the judge.
No, the second one says the second time.
Is there any other new business or old business?
It's a point of order, sir. So if it's not a point of order.
Right, and I've ruled, so you're done.
No, a point of order says that.
Point of order says the chair rules, Mr. Snipes.
No,
Yes, it
point of
does.
order says that I can speak.
We're not doing executive session today because the minutes aren't ready.
Time around, you can do it 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
read the law. Pull it up. It's right there in the county order. So if you didn't say it before I spoke, it said the second time 5 minutes. So I can explain what I have to explain. We can't just start throwing little rules arbitrarily, and the chair is out of order as far as that's concerned because you in violation of the very laws that we put together as a county board. I took the liberty to read for myself. So if I'm not correct, look up under our little code. Under the county.
The chair has ruled. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Miss Monday, second, Miss Ashcraft. All those in favor? Have a great